Hello everyone, this is Carla de la Rosa-King, immigration attorney, and today I want to give you some brief tips in regards to how to prepare for an adjustment of status interview based on a marriage application. First of all, I just want to say this information that I'm providing in this video is general information. Remember that every case is different, so what works from what case might not work for another one. Also, depending on your situation, the documents you have to submit will be, in each case, will be different. So the information that I'm providing here is general information. So first of all, when you file your application for adjustment of a status based on marriage, after a few months, USCIS is going to schedule you for an interview. So what happens on that interview? How do I prepare for that interview? The first thing you need to know is that if you have an attorney, once you get that interview notice, it's very important you contact your attorney and schedule a briefing with that attorney, so that attorney can explain to you what happens, what to expect. I can let you know what to expect on that interview and how to be prepared. So this is very important. Also, remember, one thing to keep in mind is that it is your responsibility to prove to USCIS that you enter into a good faith marriage and not with the purpose of obtaining immigration documents. So how do you do this? You're going to be able to prove this with your testimony on the day of the interview and the documents you have to submit to immigration, the joint documents that you have to show that your marriage was entered in good faith. Who needs to go to the interview? Both of you need to go. The couple need to go to the interview. The USCIS officer is gonna want, he or she is gonna want to interview you both on the day of the interview. What documents to bring? So the general documents to bring, you need to bring your original birth certificate, your original marriage certificate. If you have been married before, make sure to bring your original divorce decree. If any of these documents are not in English, make sure to bring your translated document. You need to bring a document translated to the English language. Also, if you have children born to the marriage, make sure you bring the birth certificate of your children, your medical exam. If you did not submit your medical exam when you file the adjustment of status application, make sure to bring the medical exam on the day of the interview. And one thing to keep in mind is that make sure you bring the correct original document issued by the proper authorities. This is very important. If the document you bring, the birth certificate, is not the birth certificate issued by the proper authorities, USCIS is gonna ask you for a request for evidence to submit the correct document. Now, it's very important that before the interview, you go over your application, go over the packet that you submitted to USCIS. This is very important because you want to make sure there's no inconsistencies. You want to go over those forms again to make sure that all the information is correct. Or maybe you need to update some information. So, for example, you move. So on the day of the interview, you will be able to update that interview and inform the officer. Although that if you move, you should have filed the AR-11 as soon as you move, notifying immigration about your new address. But anyway, if you have to, anything that you need to update on the form, you should be able to update it on the day of the interview. Also, it's very important that you go over the form to make sure there's no mistake. If there's a mistake, like a typo or or something, some information for some reason was not provided, or there's a mistake, also it's very important that you rectify or inform the officer on the day of the interview. If you were inspected when you enter the US, make sure that you bring your passport, bring proof your passport and proof that showing that you were inspected at the time you entered the United States. Be very organized. This is very important. Remember, on the day of the interview, you're going to bring updated documents. Make sure you make copies for the office there. And when the officer asks you, okay, so what documents do you have to show the good faith of the marriage, then give them the documents you have quickly, but explaining what you are giving them. For example, you can say, okay, here's our joint bank account, here's our joint credit card, or here is proof that we are members of such gem, etc. So you give the documents to the officer, but you explain them briefly what you explain them quickly what documents you are giving them. Again, make sure to be very organized, know where to find, for example, your birth certificate, your passport, so the interview can go smoothly. If the officer asks you a question and you don't understand the question, ask them to repeat the question. They will rephrase the question or ask you again, just to make sure you understand the question. If you don't know the answer to a question, don't make it up. If you don't know the answer, tell them that you don't know. If you don't remember, just tell them you don't remember. It's very important you don't provide information that is not correct. So the most important thing is to be prepared for the interview. There should not be any inconsistencies, and be very organized. So if you have any if you need any assistance in regards to your adjustment of status application, if you need assistance preparing for the adjustment of status application, please feel free to give us a call at 773-366-1214 and schedule a consultation with me. I hope you find this video helpful. Thank you for watching.